Bum, 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 bum.
Harder Brunch presents Peep Show, Wednesday the 27th at the White Rabbit Cabaret.
We got stand-up with Brent Hume, baby.
Live podcast from Harder Brunch.
And we got some burlesque.
We got a live peep eating contest.
And we got surprises and prizes.
Tickets are available at eventbrite.com.
I'm eating brunch with my people though. The homie Dyke just cooked up a feast and we bout to eat it, bro. Fucked around and has to mix the lobster with the poutine. Daddy is rolling blow dream. Them boys got down a routine. It's Naptown culture. Cooking 7 courses. Had to pass the torch and now I'm grabbing second portion. So sit back, relax, grab a drink and a smoke. It's Harder Brunch on the way and get prepared for the jokes. Whoa.
Hi, and welcome to the Harder Brunch Podcast. I'm your host, Dyke Michaels. With me, as always, my co-host, Thaddaeus Mckee.
Slappy pappy wank wank.
On the ones and twos, the wheels of steel, the sauce boss of Indianapolis, and the last broke dragon. Give it up for Zach Roan, everybody.
Happy St. Patty's Day, Hardees.
Hey.
Two of four very special guests with us in studio today for the first time. Jim and Blythe from SNUG in Irvington.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Welcome to the program. Very excited to have you guys on. You guys are the new hot girl in school. Mm-hmm. Everyone is so excited that you're here. Everybody wants to be the first to talk to you and take you out.
The hot girl from Ireland.
The hot girl from Ireland. Everybody wants to have the cool story about the time they went in there. But no, very excited. You guys brought a legitimate Irish pub to the heart of Irvington, which I have to say is dangerously close to this house. I feel like dangerously close. I half the year I don't drink, so I've been waiting. I have like a little calendar, like a little advent calendar. I'm taking down the days to come in, but very excited to hear the whole backstory, but already a blessing for the community. Thank you. Thad, first he came in, he was very excited. He went in, he goes, Dyke, there's this amazing new bar down the street. It's a tequila bar. It's so good. And I was like, that's crazy because they just put a new whiskey Irish bar. No, that's what I went to. That's
a long night.
Yeah, I had too much of whatever it was.
Yes.
And I've known both of you, I think, the whole time I've been on the east side for probably about past 10 years or so. Hardcore Irvingtonians.
Absolutely.
And obviously, you guys love the neighborhood and care a lot about it. To add to it, I don't know, where did you guys want to start? I feel like there's so much.
Well, I want to go back to what you said, that you don't drink half the year, so you haven't been in. And one of the big things that we wanted to do with opening this pub was have it be a place, no matter what you drink, and if you are not drinking alcohol, that you would feel comfortable coming into our pub.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
Like, it's a place for community, it's a place to be, it's a place to be social. And we want that to include people that don't drink alcohol. We have a lot of people that we love deeply in our lives and that are part of this project that don't drink alcohol, but you still want to have a social life, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So we want that to be a really big part of this. And online we're seeing tons of responses about, well, I don't drink, so I haven't been there. That makes me sad. Like, if you're uncomfortable coming to a place where there's alcohol served, I totally get that, and we love you. Yeah. And that's okay. But there are amazing non-alcoholic options for everybody. We have multiple non-alcoholic beers. If you haven't had a non-alcoholic Guinness, it tastes just like a Guinness. Like, it's amazing. Okay. Yeah, we have our base punch that Carrie it's our bartender Carrie, who you'll talk to soon, makes an amazing, like, we wanted to have a cocktail that was at its base delicious, non-alcoholic. And then if you decide to add either CBD, which is his kind of thing, and he might talk about that, or delicious whiskey to it, that is fantastic. Yeah. But at its base, at its non-alcoholic,
it's good as it is.
You are going to be happy to drink this. And And our other thing about it is we didn't want it to be like, you go to a place and you order an NA cocktail and it's, $13-14, which is the same price as, an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like we didn't want that to be a thing. So we want it to be affordable. We want it to be exactly what you want it to be. And it doesn't have to be about alcohol.
We
awesome.
talked about all that theoretically before opening, and then inadvertently opened into Dry January, and had a lot of people come in and really got a great response from it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of people who enjoyed the ability to get some stuff during that period of their lives.
I never really thought about it too much before it applied to me. And then I was like, when I go out. So now it's like, it is really cool with a lot of mocktails and NA options, having more of them. Like now when I go to a bar and they're like, we have no duels. I'm like, what is this, 1997?
Right,
Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have better choices than that. Not that there's any problems with O'Doul's.
Yeah. But you guys do like whiskey as well. And
We do, very much. In fact, my wife, part of the reason that the bar exists is that Blythe got tired of my whiskey collection at the house, and so I couldn't grow it any further, so I had to find a venue to keep it in.
Are either of you Irish descended, Irish back?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Going back, my grandparents came over in the 1920s after the Civil War, and landed in Chicago and raised us Irish Catholic, and the traditions were all there, sitting on my uncle's lap, listening to the stories of the Civil War, the Revolution, all of that.
I got the Catholic part, but not the Irish part. So
There you go.
just,
there you go.
Just the shame. That's
Yeah.
all I got.
So you used to visit as a kid?
No, I didn't get over to Ireland until I was an adult. But my grandparents, uncles, and aunts, they were all immigrants, and we got the stories. We came up with the stories.
Okay. One of the things that you guys were talking about, like how did you guys meet? Let's go there real quick, and we might have to get closer to the mic real quick because we'll pick up.
So
You guys wanna get
is that better?
Act like you guys like each
Yeah, right.
Watch out for the trap.
We grew up in Oak Park and went to the same middle school, and we've been friends ever since.
middle school sweethearts.
Middle school. Well, no, we were just friends back then.
No, we were just friends.
I was that awkward kid, the skinny awkward kid, and she was that beautiful, unattainable.
Fourth grader.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Jesus.
Exactly right.
That's not the right
And
sentence.
no, that didn't end well at all. But no, then we were roommates after high school for a bit, and we're close friends until she moved down here to go to nursing school, and I stayed up in Chicago.
Which is awesome. You guys lived together before you guys got married, or before you guys were dating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
we were just friends.
Which is
we lived together for about a year and a half, just one block south of Wrigley Field.
not thinking, hey, this could be my wife or my husband or whatnot.
No.
And then,
Yeah. And then we parted ways for about 10 years, and then we were both in the midst of, we both had parted ways from our previous partners, and here we are.
Yeah.
Facebook happened, and we
Embarrassingly,
found each
Facebook.
other, and that was awkward, but
Finding each other on Facebook?
yes.
It's a little weird.
Isn't that awful?
wait, why is that?
Is that a thing? I don't know.
I
I,
think
feel
I
like
think it's.
for our generation, it's like, oh, if we found
it
each other
depends
on
what-
No, you guys live together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the Facebook doesn't count. in
Oh,
this
okay, good,
situation.
good.
It's like a cliche in
Yeah, it's
some
a little
ways, the
cliche.
Facebook thing.
Wait, did it take Facebook after you moved in together?
Yes.
No, so when we were 18 and 19, we lived together in Chicago. We
Okay,
parted
okay,
ways for
okay.
about 10 years, had
And
no
then-
contact,
and
no
then
idea.
Facebook brought you back together.
Facebook
Exactly.
happened, and he came up as
Well, I feel like it just
somebody I should know. And I was like, oh my God. And
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think there's anything wrong. I mean, if you're doing something bad on Facebook and that's how you meet, then sure, that would be something to be embarrassed about.
For sure.
Yeah.
For
But,
sure.
Like a pickpocketing group or
yeah.
something?
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
pickpocket. Yeah.
Are there a lot of pickpocketing groups on Facebook?
hey, there's enough to keep you busy.
I was part of a loitering group. We got together and just loitered.
Jay and the Silent Bobs.
Pretty much, yeah. It was we were bad. Get off our parking lot. It was bad.
So was this was the idea of opening up an Irish pub? Was this like a COVID fantasy?
I mean, it was something that's always been kind of a background dream. I mean, not one of those things where you put serious energy into, but you always kind of think about. The opportunity just presented itself at the right time in the right place. And
your brother owned a bar,
Yeah.
owned an Irish pub in Chicago.
Yeah, my grandfather
that he
owned
kinda
pubs
grew
in
up
Chicago. And,
Oh, okay.
it's there, but it's sort of that... is this a grown-up job? Like, to transition from a functional, healthy career to owning a pub feels like something you dream about when you're, in your teens. And,
Not turning 50.
Not turning 50, exactly right. But,
It's very How I Met Your Mother-esque.
yeah, for sure.
But it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and it really has become, I'm turning 50 and I'm a contractor and it's hard on your body. So, thinking about what's next, what's that going to look like in 10 years when I'm turning 60. So to transition into a new career, whether it was intentional or not, is kind of timely.
Yeah. You're one of those people that bothers me because you're good at like construction and building stuff, but then you're also like very artistically talented as well.
He's literally a painter. I don't know if you guys know, but in the old Black Acre, like all the artwork was
the circles.
his initiative.
Wait, time out. You're the circles guy?
I'm the circles guy.
So when I said when I lived in that mansion, you knew exactly what I was talking about because all your artwork was in there.
Was it?
Mansion?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's a whole mansion dedicated to you. You never knew about that?
Well,
we
I
meet
think-
I feel
twice
like
a
Dave
month.
Johnson
They
wants
didn't
to know
tag
about
me.
this.
Yeah, there was a lot of circles that were different colors.
Yeah.
And that's a bad way to describe your art, but
It's also a very accurate way to describe my art.
it's more than that, but that's what it is.
It's a bad way to describe anybody's art. Yeah, that's it.
Funny.
But that one that's also has to very much come in handy when you're building out your own
For sure.
with your own pub. Because
Yeah.
like I'm the opposite of a handy person. I just make things worse by touching them. Like how's so much more stuff broken in here now that I came in?
No, I mean, people come in all the time and are talking about the interior, and Jim and I have done a bunch, like, as a contractor, and together we have a couple of businesses that we've flipped a bunch of houses, done a lot of renovations, which is one way that we got closer with Carrie Shea, who's bartender that'll come on shortly. But we've done a lot of projects in the neighborhood, and it was really fun to get to do the bar together as a design project, basically.
And something for us.
Yeah, something
You know.
that is like forever, and a lot of times we're doing this to sell, but this we get to keep, and we get to continue to let the design grow, and it's
all of
really
that
fun.
said, there were a ton of other really talented people involved.
Oh
in
my
this
God, our
project.
makers are so good.
Yes, it's up on the screen right
Yeah,
now.
I
I
don't
mean,
know,
Jamie Locke at Jamie Locke Art. She came in, and I mean, Guide and Anchor. They worked with us for all the design work and our
Logo.
logos and all that work. And then Jamie Locke came in.
Jamie took their assets and did so much.
Beautiful. She did all the hand carving on the woodwork behind the bar.
Oh wow! Oh, she took her time on that.
Oh man.
So much. And then Beth Winterman, who I'm not sure what her tag is. I love you, Beth. I'm so sorry.
At Best
but
Winterman, I think.
yeah, I think maybe. Yeah. Anyway, she made a custom door for
She
us.
makes doors. Like
Yeah.
She makes
millwork,
doors.
proper millwork.
Right?
Beautiful, gorgeous door.
So, there's lots of people that were part of this project just because of previous relationships that have become our makers, and it's like such joy. And then Tim, our brother-in-law,
He's a cabinet maker.
He's a cabinet maker. He came down and Jim and Tim built the bar. Like the entire bar is thanks to Jim and Tim.
Yep.
There's just amazing people that have made this all come together in a way that feels so amazing.
This is a culmination of a lifetime of relationships. I mean, the reason that this is successful to this point is because of the people in our lives and these relationships we've developed over the last 15, 20 years.
Absolutely.
Without that, it would just be another, crappy corner bar. I mean, it's,
Well, and I appreciate that so much because I feel like on this show, that's what we do is like we make these great connections with all these talented people, and then like they just keep feeding back into it and making it,
Absolutely.
There's no secret. Yeah.
And I feel like what better place to do that than in Irvington? How did you come about the spot? Because did you set out to find a small spot and then, or do we just like, we love this spot and we're gonna
another series of coincidences. Adam Hampton, he and his husband bought the building. Adam Hampton owns Hampton Designs up on Washington. And Martine Locke, who is a realtor I've worked with forever, is a realtor. You know, they worked with her, and she recommended me to them to do the renovation work for the building.
Okay.
And I came in and did a walkthrough, put together an estimate for the work for them, and asked them what their plan was with that front space. And they had some suggestions, nothing they liked, and I just kind of threw this in as an off-the-cuff comment. And then sent them my estimate, and a few weeks went by, I hadn't heard anything. And, you know, like so many other jobs, I assumed they had found somebody else. And then I got a call one day and said, we forgot to tell you, we'd love for you to do the renovations, and we want you to put in an Irish bar. And so there we were. Then it was about finding the right people and figuring out how we can make this work.
So for the people that haven't been in or don't know, what is the square footage in there?
Oh, it's like 600 square feet.
Yeah.
I mean, our capacity is 49 people.
49 people.
And that includes the staff.
So is there a line out the door on the weekends, or do people just kind of know how to take turns? Or
we have a lot of people who walk by, look in the windows, and keep going. You know, and sometimes I chase them down. No, there's a table in the corner. You just couldn't see it. It's right there.
It's
we have been known to have people waiting outside before we open to get seats because they do tend to go fast.
Which is awesome.
are you allowed to do outdoor seating?
Not currently.
Not currently.
Yeah, we're working on that for the future, but you know, right now we're focusing. I mean, we've only been open for 2 months, so we're really focusing on doing what we're doing well.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna expand, hopefully in some way in the future if that
go
all works
up.
out.
Yeah, is there a rooftop?
There is. I mean, it's just so that the thing about this space is that it works because it is what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if we try to change that, we're going to lose something.
Yeah.
So we have to
Everybody's
get
asking.
creative outside of the parameters of
Yeah.
the internal space.
Yeah.
Are
like
we
what?
expanding? Are we expanding? I don't think that's our goal necessarily.
Yeah.
That's not our goal. Like
Yeah.
we love the whole purpose was to have this small space.
Yeah.
It is the feel that we want, right? That's what we're going for. That's why you walk in and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it feels like I'm in Ireland. If we were this big thing, it wouldn't feel like that. It would feel really different.
Why don't you guys be more like Kilroy's?
Exactly.
I mean, there's a time and a place for the Kilroys, right?
Sure.
But it's not exactly what we're going for.
Yeah.
I always say it's not the size of the Irish bar that matters. I say that a lot.
I appreciate.
It's what's inside.
It's how you
I think
use
that's the thing to say.
It's how you use it. Yeah. Like, and people just should be happy with what it is right now. You know, you guys are enjoying it. Like, people have only said good things. So
you.
let's just.
And we're for the
please.
neighborhood, by the neighborhood. People are like, oh, I live right down the street. And we're like, oh, we do too. We literally can see the bar from our house. Like, it is for... we want it to be a walking pub. That's very thing. Like if you go to Ireland in the neighborhood, you go to a town and there's the pub and everybody walks to the pub. That's what we're looking for. We're not trying to really necessarily draw people from far away.
Yeah.
We want it to be for the neighborhood, by the neighborhood.
Interesting.
Although everybody is welcome.
Yes, please come
I
from
mean,
far away.
we're
too.
interested
But-
in the intimate experience. We're interested in having a conversation with everybody who comes in, having an opportunity to chat.
Don't you love when people come in and they're so excited to tell you like how close they live?
Yes.
Like, you know, I only
I
live a
love
street
it.
down here and two over. That's where I
I love
live.
it.
That's fantastic.
It brings me
We're
great
not
joy.
worried about how they're getting home then.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. There's a.
Yeah, I can just stumble on the Pennsy. You know, it's great. I don't even need to get on my bicycle. So, do you want to get into what we ate today?
Oh my gosh, I would love a nap.
What if they
and
said
then I
no?
would love to-
We're not
So
even-
we didn't know what we were getting into coming over for brunch, and I mean brunch in my mind is very different than the wonderful meal I just had. It was, and
Oh, you weren't excited at all.
I was
Oh
hungry.
no, he was excited. Let's
Man,
be
that
clear.
was so good. I mean, that was so good.
We're still working on like a FAQ of what to expect, but I do kind of like half of it being like a surprise.
Oh, and it was, I mean, the best kind of surprise.
It
An
was
Irish-themed
so
brunch. I wish I had the menu in front of me because I can't even go into specifics, but
we know it. We'll go through it with
I
you.
haven't.
It's time for our this part of the podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Smoking Goose. It's time for the Smoking Goose brunch breakdown. Smoking Goose, of course, is located at 407 Dorman Street. We already passed, I guess, for St. Patrick's Day. I was saying for Valentine's Day, give the gift of meat. But I think for St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah, for the things that have already
People can
passed.
miss-
also give the gift of meat.
also give the gift to me.
Some of the best charcuterie boards, some of the best Man, well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. But we had some smoking goose in the brunch today. Go ahead, you started off there.
So I started it off. I did bangers and coal cannon. I had smoking goose kitchen sink sausage in there. I used Yukon Gold potatoes. There was some Napa cabbage. I had a little bit of caramelized onions, roasted garlic butter, and then there was butter case cheese kind of mixed in it.
So I'm going to start by saying I can't look at gluten without it trying to kill me. So it was such a treat to come and realize that, first of all, this I could eat, and it was pure joy.
Yeah.
I mean, the perfect combination of, the cheese mixing with the meat, but it not being too rich that you can, want to eat all of the things. I wanted to go back for seconds and thirds and fourths.
My biggest problem with the first course was knowing that there were more courses, so I couldn't eat as much as I wanted.
Yes.
Did that give you the appropriate warning though?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
That's
did.
good.
Yes.
Which is
sometimes
why I
people
didn't.
don't.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people, I've become aware that like nobody gets a lot of details when they do this. So I don't do the arranging of the guests. Dyke does a really good job bringing great people on
Absolutely.
here. But I feel like he kind of drops them in unaware. And sometimes people think that first course is it. So they'll fill up on it. And then, second and third and fourth comes out. And then by the time they're finished with it,
It's nap time.
Well, I started seeing people like going for seconds. I'm like, this is a warning. This is a stern warning.
You did. It was appropriate. It was appropriate.
But like, also this kitchen sink sausage, I almost feel like it's cheating when you use it. Like it's good.
It really is a fantastic
It's
sausage.
so good, and that's only something to say about the smoking goose. So.
Yeah, somebody came in, one of our guests came in and it was specific, like, man, that sausage is so good. I was like, it's smoking goose. We heated it up.
That should be the commercial.
that's a
It's
good
smoking
one.
goose.
That's a
We
good
heated it up.
That is a good commercial. Yeah, it was delicious.
And then was that me, the second? Or you
You did the corned beef croak.
corned beef croak. So one time on Harder Brunch, I think I just, for some reason, I had corned beef in a crock pot overnight. I didn't end up using it, and it just stood there. And then whatever I served that day, everybody came in and just started eating the corned beef out of the crock pot, and there was like all a rave about that. No one really liked the brunch that I served, but everybody was just like, "This is corned beef. What'd you do to it?" And I was like, "I don't know. I cooked it overnight." So that's just how I cook corned beef now. Is just like low and slow, and then hit it with the Mornay sauce and served it kind of like a croque monsieur. Kept it real simple. Threw some potatoes on there. It seemed Irish.
I mean, it from my Irish American perspective, it might have been the best sandwich I've had in I don't even know how long. The potatoes were perfectly cooked, and that corned beef was soft, juicy. So good. Again, I could have gone harder. It was so good.
Could have gone harder.
Sorry, but you got cabbage instead. But
No, I mean, I got it without the bread, basically, which was I can't do bread. So, and most gluten-free bread is not worth eating. So it was perfect just to serve it the way you did without the bread. It was everything.
And cabbage is a great accompaniment.
Cabbage is my favorite thing on the planet.
so that's what I cook my dog's dog food from scratch, and it's always like chicken, cabbage, and carrots.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Somebody had a bet on this, I think. There's a bunch of people laughing.
No, we're wanting Carrie to step up
Oh.
and feed his dogs the way you do.
and,
Wait, how does Carrie feed his dogs?
I mean, not like that.
Oh,
Apparently it was shredded metal.
Shredded metal. That's illegal, my friend.
It's aggressive.
but there's been more than one night where like I come home and it's cooking like on a crock pot, and I'm just like, well, I guess this is people food now too.
Absolutely.
Well, we've had people stumble in drunk and eat your dog food.
Oh yeah,
Shout out Zane Zadie.
this stew is amazing. I was like,
What is it?
That's my dog food, but
He's like, I don't even care. He just keeps going. All right.
Oh, that's amazing.
So the next course, I did a shepherd's pie. I did a blueberry shepherd's pie. I had some leftover maraschino blueberries I had made, and so I cooked them up with the lamb, and then I topped it with sweet potatoes and an aged cheddar topping, and yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, this was sweet, this was savory, and then you'd get a little hint of that cheese on top, and that bitterness came in, and it was, I mean, sadly, the third course. So, I mean, it was so freaking good.
It was so rich. I felt my body change as I was eating it. Like I took that first bite and then I felt something. I was like, I shouldn't eat too much of this. It's really good, but something's happening.
I almost wanted it with a scoop of ice cream.
Ooh, yeah, now that's a really interesting idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a different taste profile than I think I've ever had probably in my entire life. Like it was so unique and easily one of the best bites I've had in probably my life.
Thank you so much.
No, it was truly everything. Truly.
I was a bit nervous inviting owners of an Irish bar over and then cooking Irish food. So I was like,
let's go something far away from the tradition. Make it say an Irish name, but make it not Irish.
Yeah. Put an O in front of it.
Give them something a little bit different. Well, I was like, either you could just put green food coloring on everything.
Very traditional. That's very traditional.
Or you just cook everything with no seasoning. You know, it's like let's do something in between.
That was my mother's plan. That's actually love you, Patsy. Yeah.
It's the boiled meat and wet potato.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the cocktail program you had there today, Zach.
Oh. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, sorry, I got you. You're drinking.
So I did a Irish cold brew with Tinker Coffee.
Whoa, that's one of our sponsors.
That's one of our sponsors, Tinker Coffee. It doesn't suck and stuff.
That's a bad ad. I'll tell you what, today, Tinker Coffee, our beloved sponsor for years, hopefully for longer. No, it was the first time that we've made cold brew out of Tinker Coffee, and I gotta tell you, it's like rocket fuel. Like that first sip hit different too.
Really?
Between the Tinker Coffee and the Shepherd's Pie, I might travel through time. I don't know. What's gonna happen?
I think that's fair.
But yeah, I picked up a Teeling Irish whiskey. I had never had that one before, but it looked interesting, so I used that in there. And then I also had a whiskey ginger. That's the one I had.
A classic cocktail. You had that.
Yeah, the whiskey ginger is very close to our copper cup that we sell at the pub. We use a Jameson with infused
a tea infused
Jameson
Okay.
for our
I saw
copper
that
cup
one.
instead
Yeah.
of Teelings. But Carrie Shade can talk to that more because he is our bartender extraordinaire.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to come in and try all these. I'll just like I have a list. I have a list of all the places that I'm going. Like as soon as I was like,
Love that. When is your?
it's my birthday, which is May 24th.
Okay.
I might have just a taste of the samples since you guys did bring some samples in today.
I did. It is Irish International Irish Whiskey Day.
It would be rude not to take a sample.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't want to be rude.
You want to take a sample of the Black History Month whiskey?
Well,
You gotta have priorities, right?
I have also had that before, so you know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
yeah,
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm glad you backed yourself up on that
one. And then for dessert, I did a Guinness and Bailey's cake. I'm not a baking and pastry person, so I started making that cake, and I realized that I've never successfully iced anything, and I'm just doing a bad job. And I was like, Zach, please come over here and help me finish icing this cake. So it was still a joint effort between us, but I baked it. And Zach made it look not like a hot mess. So
it was incredible. It was clouds and magic and chocolate, and it was so freaking good. And I will add to your Tinker Coffee here. I got a black coffee to go with it.
So good,
perfectly balanced. Everything that was so good. Yeah.
It was
a great way
great
to end the meal.
Yeah, it didn't suck.
Yeah. It did not suck because Dyke's not a dessert guy. I know everybody's strengths, you know what I'm saying? So I'm hearing Dyke's, gonna make dessert. I about left, I was like, where do I hide it? And I noticed, the trash can is full, so I'm gonna have to eat this. And I'm gonna tell you, I went for second.
I was gonna say, I think you went for second.
Oh no, it was amazing. I'm really full right now. I want to share that with other people in my life.
You mean like baby birding?
I want to masticate it. Pre-masticate. Yeah. No, I mean there's some foods that They're apology foods.
What?
Like where you're like, hey, I'm sorry, and then you give it to them, and everything's fine.
I had the opposite experience. I don't want to share it. I want to take it home and keep it all for myself.
Now what?
And baby Berkey.
Baby.
Speaking of what is the food situation at SNUG?
So, as the name implies, we are very small. So we have really not much of a kitchen. Currently, we've got hand pies from Pots and Pans Baking Company.
That's great.
up in
Shout
Broad
out
Ripple.
Bridget Person.
Yeah, they have been great partners. We've got a potato leek and a lamb and vegetable hand pie that we're serving up.
That's great.
We also have a grazing board that is my grandmother's Irish soda recipe and
Soda bread.
Yep. What did I say?
Soda recipe.
Yeah, soda bread recipe. That's more accurate. That's cheese and grapes and butter, that sort of thing.
People come in and say charcuterie, and I say grazing.
Yeah. And we had planned to put that on as a stopgap until we figured it out, but it's been really popular, so we've kept it on.
Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about Bridget. By the way, she's.
We talking about old Heather?
I called her the wrong name at the meat cake competition, and I apologize that I've
You barely know her. I mean, you've only known her for like 4 years.
Yeah, but no, Bridget is amazing. She's an amazing chef in general, and she used to be our meat cake king and people's champ, and she lost this year.
She likes that you bring that up.
I don't know. I haven't talked to her.
I'd like you to use
I don't talk to losers. No, that was shitty. But you did lose, Bridget. Here's the thing. What I'm trying to say, you made me do this, Zach. I'm saying she's a good choice to have cook for you always. She does my parents' birthday cakes, my birthday cakes. She's amazing. I love her.
Those hand pies look phenomenal.
I know one of the chefs from Pots and Pans is Indy. Actually lives here in Irvington too, though. Roby. Yeah, thank you, Carrie Shea. Roby lives here in Irvington, so he's been really excited to be part of the project and has been a big part of creating the menu with us.
That's awesome. I feel like this is the hack question, but what is going on for St. Patrick's Day?
So just released. We just put out kind of the dates and times last night. We're going to be open Saturday and Sunday. Saturday 1 to 10, Sunday 12 to 6. We've got some tents lined up for the backyard and some live music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there is a backspace?
There's a backspace behind the B&B, yeah. So we're going to have, the bar will be open. We'll be doing more normal service in the bar, although somewhat limited. And in back, we're going to just have a kind of big celebration.
That's awesome. Because I was thinking about this today when I was driving around, because like places like the Golden Ace, like they make their money for like the entire, like I feel like they stay open based on St. Patrick's Day.
It's a very Black Friday thing for sure. Yeah.
And it's because it's a very small bar too. They just take over that parking lot. Like I went in there one time just on a regular day and I was like, oh, this is it. This is the bar. This is real. Okay. All right. But yeah, I think they so I just feel like you guys are gonna be like overwhelmed. You're gonna have to have somebody just keeping people away.
Yeah, I mean, half the people we're bringing on as volunteers are just there to count people and make sure we don't have too many where they're not supposed to be.
And we love Golden Ace. We're super excited.
Yes.
We're excited for people to continue to go to that celebration. We have been there for many a year ourselves, and
we just want to be one stop.
Yeah, one stop on
daily,
everybody's, and hopefully Uber and Lyft are super busy that day.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Penzie Trail, it's right there. I mean, that's perfect. You do a little bar crawl, East Side bar crawl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, and then coming up in October is the Halloween festival, and you guys are again at Ground Zero.
Exactly. Yeah,
Wow,
we're super excited about it.
Just missed it this year. If you open in January.
So we had an NA stand there, which was super successful, and we really enjoyed rolling out
cool.
Carrie Shea's amazing NA cocktails, basically
lemonades.
our lemonades that you were able to add different flavors to, which was super fun, and we plan to do something similar again in the future.
We're also going to be working with Adam Hampton and the community for Irvington Pride. So
awesome.
Pride is our next big thing after.
Our plan is to have our traveling bar up in the lodge for that day and serve up some more cocktails and NA drinks there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do we want to take a quick commercial break? Yes. And then we will
Rhetorical question.
and then we will be we'll be right back.
Oh, do we?
This week on the After Brunch Podcast.
And there was like dancing and everybody's having fun and the energy is pretty up, but he's way up because this girl likes him. You can just tell, like, he's like, man, like, I think I found like a new best friend energy. And he's dancing in the middle floor, and then all of a sudden I see him take his shirt off. This girl goes into the other room, takes his shirt off, and now he's the only tall dude with his shirt off in the dance floor. He almost like looks like a giant Will Ferrell moving his body around. And I was like, I ran up to him. I was like, you got to put your shirt back on.
It wasn't helping. It wasn't helping at all.
Stop what you're doing.
I was like, you're doing good, Peter. And she likes you. Yeah. Like,
We're not the shirt off territory.
This
not it.
This isn't it. This is it.
is good.
You're sticking out really bad right now.
Join us at patreon.com/Harder Brunch.
Your last name's Barrett, right?
My last name is Barrett, yeah.
I've always ever called you Cider Tim out loud and in my head.
Well, you are one of the first people to call me that, so it makes sense.
It's usually in song form when I say it's like to the tune of Spider-Man. It's Cider Tim, Cider Tim.
That's actually the proper pronunciation.
I love that.
That's actually
I'm a
how
little
it's
jealous of that.
actually spoken. Well, keep yourself in check.
Yeah.
No, like one of my favorite stories of any bar ever is back in the day when you and I first met, and I would come in the back door of a pub. You were working. You would just see me start pouring the cider. By the time I got to my seat, it just appeared in front of me, and it's like, my life is complete.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And now you guys have the opportunity to be like the neighborhood cheers.
It has turned out that way. There has been a lot of turnabout.
There is something really cool about having great regulars, because for every 10 Cider Tims, man, there was just a real hunk of shit that would come in.
You're not wrong.
Fortunately, we have not had that experience
Yet.
We had the swastika flag guy. He was a regular for a while, and it was always like, as a server, he was a really good tipper. I hate to say it. But it turned into I remember it turned into a game that Nicole and I would play where it was just like we would take turns waiting on him and like kind of blocking his hate from the rest of the customers.
Right.
And it would always be like on his like third drink he would start getting a little more vocal about it. So like, Irvington is probably one of the gayest places around. And I remember like these two women came in holding hands one time, and we just saw them go like, "Argh," and then we both just dove in front of him. We're like,
Taking one for the team.
Block the hate.
it's time to cash out. That dude came in. Someone tried to kill him with a hammer one time, like on a work site. Like he talked so much trash to this guy that someone just said, "Well, now this is happening," and just hit him over the head with a hammer. He went to the ER. And then went directly to Blackacre and came in and tried to order like an old Rasputin. He had a bandage around his head, like when the little rascals had a toothache, Like he came in, we're like, dude, you're concussed. We're not serving you beer.
Was he wearing the cross-draw pistols?
Yes.
During all of this?
It's not a good tactical look.
No. So anyway, what was the teacup story?
I think first we should probably acknowledge that I'm not Blythe anymore.
That's my buddy Tim.
Yeah.
What's your relationship to the SNUG?
You guys lived together in high school?
Same story. Same story. Exactly the same. No, we met at a pub. It was actually at Blackacre, and back in the day, and we it was just a random night, and there was conversation flowing, and we ended up talking at the same table. And funnily enough, the next day, it was a brunch that you made.
Which, man, I miss those brunches.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, those
It was a
plantains.
brunch that Mike had made, and Blythe got there first before Jim, and I was already there. I was like reading or something, and she just looked at me and she's like, "Come over here. Come over here." And I go, "All right, I barely know you, but okay." So I sat down, and then Jim
rest is
showed up,
history.
and yeah, I just kept showing up. So,
Wait, so these stories that you're telling me up there, Dyke was always in the background?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I find that in every story, I was always there in the background.
I mean, I thought everyone knew this.
Shining.
Yeah, you didn't know? We all knew. In the background, he's always there.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I watched Jim and Blythe grow up, right?
Yeah, he was right there.
Middle school.
Shared a house with him.
Everybody has a Dyke that was always there.
Yes.
That's right.
So no, yeah, we just started hanging out on Monday nights and stuff, and yeah, we did that forever.
Yeah. And now we're business partners.
Yeah.
So what is the ownership? Who are you? All four owners?
It's the four of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if like you were just like a good luck charm that hung around.
I mean,
I started that way.
They did-
Let's be clear. I started that way, and then there was one day Jim sat me down and it's like, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?"
I love it.
And I go, "I guess standing next to you guys."
I mean, it goes back to what I said before. This exists because I surrounded myself with really talented people. And I know the things that I do well and the things that I do not. And so to have people around me that can kind of fill those gaps and prop up this project and make it what it has become has been critical in its development.
You're kind of like the Gandalf that pulls everybody together and shows them the journey.
I mean, I think that's talking me up a bit, but sure.
I mean, he's more like Frodo.
With the ring?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Frodo's
Right.
It's not the worst
shittiest
one.
character.
No, I could have done a lot worse.
No, he's tortured,
I mean,
demented.
have you seen my beard?
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of gray.
when all this
Okay.
started, this was not this color. No, I think, I mean, and this dives into what you were asking about the teacup story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Irish
teacup
word, we went over to Ireland. We took before we really got seriously into the creation of the pub. I wanted everybody to understand what was in my head. So we took a trip over and we went around Ireland, went from pub to pub, recommendation to recommendation, and just kind of toured the country, looking and trying to capture that feeling. And so in Ireland, they have a prime minister, and their prime minister is the Taoiseach, right? And so I was explaining all of this political structure to them as we were going over, and they decided that I was the Taoiseach. But in a true American sense, none of them could pronounce the word.
Well, we were also a
nor
little
cared to.
Yeah, we were a little inebriated as well.
So Taoiseach became
Teacup.
you're the teacup.
and I am the teacup.
Oh,
Which
the teacup.
he thought in the beginning, but by the end of the trip, he started calling
It
teacup.
was the only way I could get them to do what needed to be done. Acknowledge my role as the teacup.
So what? So you're being squired around Ireland, and is this your first time there?
It is actually.
What elements or what things did you see over there that you're like, oh, we have to bring this back, or like, oh, this has to be part of what we did?
I mean, apart from my family castle,
Ruin.
ruin. It was a ruin.
It was in Rhodes, but there was you had a
Yeah, there is. There's a Barrett castle in
that's
Ireland.
exciting.
If you go back far enough, it's now in the middle of a cow field.
It is,
But
which is appropriate. I feel that's appropriate. No, it's good. It's good. Trust me, it's good. No. I got lost in the question. Oh, what did I?
takeaways.
Yeah, what the takeaways? Thank you. Yeah, there it is, Barrett Castle.
Barrett Castle.
Oh, that's still pretty castly.
Yeah.
More
The
of a
cows.
castle than I got.
Hey, the cows love it.
You could put a tarp over it.
Yep.
And, you know.
And enjoy shade. I guess one of my big takeaways from it was, I mean, two things. One, I remember looking at Jim either while we were there or after we were there. I can't remember now, but it was just this feeling of, like this. There had always been like some sort of a calling to Ireland for me that I could never explain. Like my family has been in the United States for way too long, and so whatever
From the beginning.
whatever European connections we had was so far away, no one talked about them anymore. You know,
yeah.
So none of that really came up for me in any like handed down way. I had to discover it on my own, and there is some connection way back, obviously, but I mean, just everything. I was like, this is my weather. This is everything. This is. I mean, it's like, yeah, you just find something that you knew was kind of missing. But specifically with Irish pubs, I mean, you walk into the places and there's a communal feeling. And one of the things that I knew we had to bring was this this intimacy that happens. Because if you look at the tables and the stools in Irish pubs, they're all a little shorter, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what that does is everyone naturally leans in.
Oh, okay.
Right?
They lend themselves to conversation.
Right.
They lend
So
themselves to intimacy.
like, there's not this thing like over here, everyone's used to having a lot of space, right? We all like kind of sit away and chat far away at each other. But over there, you sit at a table, you're on a stool, you come in, you know, the conversation comes in. And I knew like we have to have that.
Yeah.
Especially with the square footage we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's like we're creating this implied intimacy, you know? So
That's why we do what we do with our floor here, is to get the guests to lean in and fall into our podcasting hole.
well, but here's the great thing, right? One of the places we talked about this is this bar called the Shelbourne
Bar in Cork City.
Cork City.
Yeah.
And when we were trying to find furniture,
Finally, I gave up.
Yeah.
I couldn't find furniture like what they had, like what we found there anywhere in the States. And so finally, I just called the Shelbourne Bar one day. And I got the owner on the phone, and he said, "Oh, yeah, call down to Monahan Brothers. Let them know I sent you." And so I called a small furniture company called Monahan Brothers in I think it's County Clare. And it might be County Mayo. Excuse me. And they were like, "Great, yeah, no problem." And they sent us catalog, and they built us furniture. They shipped it over came over on a container on the Atlantic, and we have the exact furniture that we last sat in designing the pub in Cork City.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't that much more expensive than when we could have bought here from Wayfair or whatever.
yeah, I mean, that for me was a huge get.
Yeah.
For me.
I feel like those little details like really, really make it. So I work at a Christmas market here up in Carmel, and like for our bratwurst stand, we had a big grill made and flown over here, and it's a big proper swing grill.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like those little authentic details really kind of put the texture of the experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I mean, it's the kind of thing that, you know, if you put in half an effort, you don't think about, but if you're really trying to capture something special that you experience, you want to try and not just emulate, but like truly get every piece of what you experienced and bring it here.
I mean, we were going for an authentic Irish pub that makes sense in central Indiana.
Yeah.
To try to make an authentic Irish pub that exists in Cork City would have been asinine and would have felt fake. So this is something that had to function within Irvington.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you don't have all your servers talking with a bro.
Exactly. And Irvington is a great walkable neighborhood. It's the perfect place for a little tiny local pub, you know. So to try to bring that here and have it make sense was important to us.
Yeah.
What kind of cider are you pouring over there, Tim?
Yeah, you know how I do. You know how I do. All right, let's talk cider. All right. So, first of all, we are obviously started with the Magners, which is a classic Irish cider, which over there is called Bulmers. We won't get into the legalities of it, but they can't sell it outside of
getting into
Ireland and UK. He opened the door. But they can't sell it anywhere else without calling it Magners. Anyway. So we got that. We have hometown favorites, Ash and Elm. We do a seasonal rotation on our punch and our ciders, because Ash and Elm, I think everyone kind of knows, if you drink cider and you drink their cider, they have so many different great options and flavors that come up. It fit in perfectly with what we were trying to capture with like our every 6 weeks rotation.
Yeah, keep it seasonal.
Exactly.
That's great.
Then we also just brought on a French cider called Aval. There has been some supply issues with Magners, which we'll get straightened out later, but we have been without for a little bit. So I wanted to bring in something, and we all wanted to bring in something that had a tannin forward cider that European ciders have. Yeah. And Aval has been a great complement to the lineup there. and yeah, we're excited to have them, and it's been selling really well too. So
I will give you some inside baseball. There is currently no Magners in the United States.
Oh.
There's a big supply chain issue, and they ran out. And we were told that there wasn't going to be any more until after St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately, we called our supplier had called us, and we said, "So what do you have currently?" And he said, "Well, we have 9." And I said, "I'll be there in half an hour." So we took those 9 kegs of Magners and we put them in the cooler, and we're holding them for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So you guys are the only game in town.
There may be.
Well,
I mean,
In the
we don't know what everyone else did, but
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
there's a real chance that we'll be the only ones with Magners.
Well played.
so
All right. Well, thanks, Tim. Appreciate
Yeah.
you being on here. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome, Carrie,
Hi.
to the program.
Thank you.
And you are the bartender extraordinaire?
I'm the bartender.
He's
We'll stay there.
extraordinaire.
Yeah, no, yeah.
How do you know? How do you know these folks? How do you fit in this puzzle?
Well, when you and I were in that production of Our Town, years ago. But no, so I did theater at the Lodge in Irvington for years with some theater groups, Eclectic Pond being one of them, and Tim was on the board for it, and we needed this big set we did 8 plays in 8 hours was this big production, and Jim built the set for it many years ago, and I met Jim and Blythe at Black Acre for a meal outdoors. It was like a really sunny day in, I don't know, February or March. We were all eating outside, and so that's technically the first time I met them, and then I didn't really remember that until years later when we started playing a D&D game, Tim, Jim, and I.
wow. So Dyke was in the background again.
I told you, yeah. That's right.
This is insane.
Spilling a drink. Yeah, I'm noticing a trend of meeting around small neighborhood pubs and making new friendships.
Absolutely.
Like, that's amazing. Have you guys, I know you've only been open for 2 months, but have you got a chance to kind of see that already happening? People meeting and getting to know each other?
Absolutely. The dining room being so small, we encourage people to join tables. If there's 2 people sitting and there's 2 stools available, we encourage other people or to join in the SNUG if it's not full. And it has led to some really fantastic kind of mashups with personalities. There was one evening in particular, these 2 couples came in. There was a couple sitting, and another couple didn't have a chair. And we watched the husband and wife kind of argue over whether or not they were going to join the other couple. And they finally did. And then 15 minutes later, the 2 husbands were hunkered over phones watching the same basketball game while their wives chatted away, having never met before.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And then 4 hours later, they were still drinking and watching the game, and I mean, they spent the whole night together. And that's not the only time that's happened.
That's
It's happened a
beautiful.
lot. Yeah.
I love that.
I can't wait for the first snug baby,
We've talked about that. We decided they all have to be named Doug. And just thematically. Yeah.
There will be a Doug Day.
Yes.
When all Dougs come
November
Dibs.
30th. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm into the Snug Baby mascot. If you guys need one for Baby Day or whatever.
Photo shoot.
Perfect.
I love that.
Now, you guys brought in some whiskey you said National Whiskey Day today,
International
right?
Irish Whiskey Day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very, very specific holiday.
That is a very good.
Yeah.
Today is.
Today is International Irish Whiskey Day.
And you guys planned this, right? Harder Brunch?
I mean, this is a fantastic moment for
Wait,
all
did
of
you
us.
really know that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So we,
I didn't know till this morning.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we brought in a bottle of transportation whiskey, which is truly international in the sense that it comes from Tasmania. But as we all know, a large portion of the non-native population of Australia and Tasmania were convicts shipped over from Ireland by the English back in the 19th century. And so this distillery is descendants of those criminals, air quotes, who were just starving people for the most part.
Okay, yeah.
Or political instigators, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But they're distilling in the Irish style. So this is a single pot still, which is a quintessential Irish style of whiskey that is made in Tasmania.
And Flogging Molly is on the...
Flogging Molly.
is
It's
on
their
the-
Flogging Molly release. Yeah, it's a really lovely whiskey, and I thought we could do a toast.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Sláinte.
Sláinte.
It's quite nice.
Oh yeah.
Chocolate, caramel. It's got a little bit of heat to it.
A little bit of heat. Yeah. It was a lot more smooth than I was prepared for. I was ready to cough. You know what I'm saying?
Anticipatory cough.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Yeah, there is some chocolate in there. The malt. It actually tells you on the back, 30% malt, right?
Yeah.
It says 10% oats.
You get the oats.
Yeah.
And then barley.
Yeah, it's malted and unmalted barley, but a little below that it talks about how they're finished. So they're finished in a combination of, I think it's port and bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
It's matured in that, and then it's finished in a porter cask. So after it's matured in those two previous casks, they put it in a porter, a beer barrel, and leave it in there for probably 6 months. And I think that's where a lot of that chocolate's coming from, is that porter.
Yeah, that's a crazy intense flavor.
Yeah.
When you said smooth, that smoother than you expected, and that's something we have a lot of people who come in with whiskey drinkers who say, "Oh, I don't drink whiskey. I don't drink whiskey." Irish whiskey is the place to start if you don't drink whiskey.
For sure.
Because
Oh,
it is
really?
triple distilled.
It's also
It
the
is
place to
smooth.
add. You just stop there.
Well, yeah,
you
you
know?
start and then you'll come back to it as well, because it's stereotypically Irish whiskey is very smooth and very easy drinking. We have tons of whiskeys that are all around the spectrum, but we have Irish whiskeys that most people who say they've never liked Irish whiskey will try and enjoy it.
Fall in love.
Don't let not liking Irish whiskey not come over there, because I bet we can find one you like.
Yeah.
Now I've heard some interesting stuff already about your bar program, like the tea infused Jameson.
Yeah.
That piqued my interest. I was like, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. I don't know how interesting it is, but we designed our signature cocktails over like classic Irish drinks. So a whiskey ginger is, a very classic Irish drink. We had it on the menu tonight, right? So this is sort of a deconstructed whiskey ginger. It's ginger and lemon simple syrup that we make in-house. We infuse Jameson with Barry's Irish Breakfast Tea, which is a Cork-based black tea company. And we use decaffeinated. In the testing process, we did not. And
we realized that
it ended poorly
well.
with many sleepless nights. But so it's decaffeinated tea. And then soda water. So it's sort of it's an Irish mule, basically. Nice. And then we have a gin and tonic, which is typically a little more British, I guess, but everywhere we went in Ireland,
colonial
G&Ts were being served. So it's it's a bergamot or tea, or like it's a Earl Grey tea infused gin, Irish gin. That's then with tonic water. We have an Irish coffee. That's really fun. We have hot whiskey, which is a play on a hot toddy. And then we do have a non-alcoholic signature drink called the Irish Maid, which is a play on a drink I found online. I'm not sure that it's traditionally Irish, but it was a play on something I found online. So
now, are there other, like, I guess, non-traditional spirits brewed in Ireland? Do they do rum? Does Ireland do?
There's a huge resurgence of distilleries in Ireland. 10, 15 years ago, there would have been half a dozen. Now there's upwards of 50. And so there are smaller distilleries who are doing things like absinthe and rum, and they're experimenting. Puccin is making a revival, which is essentially Irish moonshine. But there's distilleries working on that,
and we're working on getting them.
And we're working on getting them. We want to have everything. We'd love to have a full bar program, and be able to make all the drinks. But I want to do it with Irish related.
Yeah, so right now we make old fashions and Manhattans, and we can do, and whiskey sours and gimlets. We can do the traditional like bar fare, but we're trying to be able to do Sazeracs and Last Words and aviations and using
Last Words.
Yeah, it's a green chartreuse drink, so I don't know that we're going to find an Irish green chartreuse, but I don't think anybody can find chartreuse right now. But just having just all Irish spirits, having Irish absinthe, Irish some tequila or gin that's Irish, having vermouth that's Irish, and really being able to do.
Or just Irish related. We have a couple of Japanese whiskeys that are, partially that are a blend that include some Irish whiskey. So,
I didn't know they did a pair up.
Yeah.
I was seeing, like, when I was shopping for them, I was seeing a couple like Japanese, like Irish whiskeys, and I thought that was kind of interesting. It's like when I see in Cincinnati, there's a soy sauce company that makes really high quality, like, artisan soy sauce, and I just think it's cool to see, like, I don't know, new resurgences of some of those artisan projects.
Who's appropriating who?
I don't know. I mean, maybe
It's just a togetherness.
yeah,
maybe.
it's a circle. It's a circle of appropriation.
Circle of appropriation.
Appropriate appropriation.
Yeah, appropriate appropriation.
There we go.
As long as everybody's an adult.
Consensual appropriation.
Cheers to that. What I like what you guys do is that like you guys do these trips together. You travel and you do like a study of, hey, what are we going to bring back to Irvington and to this little snug? Can you tell me about another trip that you guys may have done, even in New York? That
Yeah. How'd you know about that?
well, I'm just guessing.
He did his research.
He did his research.
This is called transportation. Wait, no.
Transportation whiskey.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so a great Irish bar in the United States is Dead Rabbit. And they're probably, I have to think, the most famous Irish bar in the United States. I could be wrong.
One of them, certainly the most modern.
Excellent, incredible story of the two owners that came out. Also, two different generations.
From Belfast.
From Belfast. One was like a businessman, opened up bars. The other was like an up-and-coming bartender, which I was not, but I am a bartender now, I guess. And so they opened up a couple in, I think, London and in Ireland. I'm probably really screwing up the story, but they opened up the Dead Rabbit in New York, and it's they were the first bar I would have to assume that had more than 2 Irish whiskeys on the back bar, or 10. They had 60, 70, and they're introducing Americans to Irish whiskey.
And more than that, they are, all of the art at the Dead Rabbit is Irish artists. All of the furniture is from Ireland. Everything that can be from Ireland is from Ireland. Their goal is to, and this is a goal that we can absolutely relate to, is to show Americans, show the world what an Irish pub is, and that isn't a plastic patty. You know, and really highlight actual Irish cultural, Irish culture.
And that's the whole story about New York. There's nothing really else to say.
Yeah. So you went from bar to bar trying to figure out what was happening.
We wanted
there?
to do a bar crawl, so we went for 2 days specifically to go to.
This was research.
As well as research. It was all research.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We set up a tasting. We wanted to do a tasting at the Dead Rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay.
To do an Irish whiskey tasting, kind of see how they went through it, how they did it.
And you already planned it with them. You talked to the owners.
We had tickets. It was an event.
It was an
event.
It was a ticketed event, so we bought tickets and we went out. So we went out a day early. So the first day we were just going to go Irish pub hopping. So, an hour at each place.
Research.
1 drink at each place.
Yes.
Totally reasonable. The first bar became a 1 drink and a shot.
Right. It went off the rails quickly.
And then the next bar became a whiskey and a shot.
We were asking intelligent questions of the staff, and quickly they identified us as not just being people to come in. We were in the industry, and we were interested, and we had good conversations. So they started buying us rounds, and then we would run into people that were working at the last bar and the next bar.
Because they would recommend the bar that they go to on their breaks or afterwards, and met a Polish guy who was getting married at the bar that we went to next. It was amazing, and so we just kept drinking, and my goal for that first day was to end up at Death and Company, which is another famous cocktail bar.
I want to go there.
It's
amazing.
We'll go to next time.
Well, that should be like a Harder Brunch group trip. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
To go to New
These
York.
are in New York? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and we got to sit right there.
We sat at the bar in front of the cocktail making station.
Yeah.
That looks beautiful.
It is stunning.
They just have they have a pyramid of alcohol in the back. That's just that's beautiful.
Zach, are you down?
Yeah.
To do the New York trip?
Yeah.
And the front of it, we walked past it 3 times.
You don't even
can't tell it's there.
There's just one guy standing outside.
Oh my gosh, that's
like the bouncer. And we passed him twice, but we're like, oh, he stayed here. So he must. So we asked him, and there's like a little plaque that says Death and Co.
That's it.
So you have to know.
You have to know. And there was a 2-hour wait. So he's like, yeah, I can maybe get you in 2 hours. And so we're like, all right, well, let's go to another bar. And so we went to a vermouth bar, which was not Jim's speed. And so I drank my drink and his drink.
I didn't even know there was a vermouth. I thought vermouth was a joke.
It was a
there were hundreds of vermouths. Okay.
That's the name of the episode.
That's a joke drink.
I thought vermouth was a joke.
No, vermouth, it's great. Vermouths are great. And they had hundreds of vermouths, and they would make cocktails out of vermouths, and they had hundreds of bitters, and they had some non-alcoholic bitters, which we have non-alcoholic bitters at the SNUG because you make it, it'll make a drink alcoholic if you put it in. So
Yeah.
So I was like asking him about that, but then of course I finished his drink and my drink because he wasn't drinking his drink, and then we still had an hour left, and so we went to another bar, and then I tried Shanky's.
Shanky's Whip.
It's an Irish dessert liqueur.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like an herbal.
Wait, what's it called?
I don't know.
Shanky's Whip.
Please don't
Shanky's?
pull up a picture of it.
Shanky's Whip.
Whip.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I saw that one in the store.
It's like caramel and chocolates, and it's creamy. It's great in a lot of different cocktails.
Yeah.
That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, dessert whiskey.
Yeah.
It's super sweet.
I like terrible, trashy dessert.
But if you
hard
incorporate that into a day that has already gone off the rails,
Yeah.
right
Beer.
before you reach the pinnacle
Vermouth.
of that day,
Yeah.
Start
so-
making worse decisions.
yeah.
So that's not that I can't remember the night. That's the last flavor that I really remember of the night.
sadly, because we had some really nice cocktails.
Oh no, we went to Death and Company, and it's like Disneyland. I mean, it was. I've been looking up. I have the book. I've been reading about them. It was like the whole Holy Grail. I don't know.
He was a kid in a candy store.
And I was so excited. And then at that point, I was like, "This is what I've been waiting for this whole trip. I'm not going to hold back."
Nope.
So we got drinks, we got oysters, we got popcorn, we got food.
And then they bought
Then
us
they started
around.
buying us drinks, and they were taking it with us, but they were certainly taking water shots
Yeah.
when we were taking. And so, and luckily I had worked at a food truck and made a bunch of cash right before we went, so I just gave them all my cash
He
as a
did,
tip.
all of it.
And then I was asking him, "Is this enough? Is this enough?"
All of it. Stop me. Come on, Karen. It's time to go, Karen.
I just kept giving them like more tips. And I was like, "This is
That's wild.
It was,
Yeah.
and then fortunately we had a brisk walk back to our.
like 2 hour walk.
It was like 10 minutes.
Like
it
maybe
was,
3 hours.
It was like 10, 15
Some
minutes.
Yeah, because you're in New York. You gotta.
I was sharing deep personal memories, and
It was beautiful.
it was
We shared a
the
beautiful
night did
moment.
not end beautifully.
Well, that.
Nor was the next day beautiful. But I had every tasting at
Because
Dead
the next
Rabbit
day
the
was
next
our
day.
whiskey tasting.
I
purpose
didn't
of
eat
the
or
trip.
drink anything that next day except for every single whiskey they put in front of me, like a trooper.
You did. Took one for the team.
Nothing like punishment whiskey.
And like nothing like being in New York and not being able to eat any of the great food.
Yeah.
Mistakes
God.
were made.
Yeah.
Mistakes were made. It happens.
So Thad and I, before we were roommates, we had this big plan to go to New York, and it was like we'd have meetings about what we were gonna do when we got there, and then COVID kind of like put a damper on that, and still have not ended up going. But I had a friend who just went, and I was like, oh, I have a list of things that I looked up that you should check out, and then I was like, she's not a big drinker, and I realized it was all just like craft beer and distillery bars, and then it was like, go look at the Ghostbusters Firehouse.
That should be on everybody's list.
Can you drop a beat for me there, Sauce Boss? Well, folks, thank you guys so much for being on here. I knew I wanted to have you on here, and I think we will have this out. This will drop St. Patrick's Day week.
Awesome.
So I think it's a perfect synergy. Where can people find and follow SNUG online?
We are at snugin.us.
Okay.
That's SNUG.in.us.
And Jim, you're pretty good about. I feel like I see your face on there like every day, doing something fun, doing something cool, talking about whiskey.
Hey everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Doing some. You do like a lot of educational stuff on there too.
That's the goal. Yeah. I mean, we've got some heavy lifting to do. Everybody knows bourbon. Everybody knows scotch. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Thaddeus J.
I want to use my shout out. Your punch drink that you guys do there, I think, is a whiskey punch.
So it's a mocktail that it starts at, and then we have a paired whiskey that goes with it, or a paired CBD if you want to keep it non-alcoholic. Yeah.
Very delicious. I want it again. So nice job, guys.
Thank you.
Zach Rome.
If you haven't checked it out, check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Harder Brunch. It's only $3 a month for extra episodes every single week.
Casey Campbell.
You can find me wearing the tartan of my Campbell clan, standing outside of the SNUG, smoking a hand-rolled cigarette, giving you a high five.
I'm at Dyke Michaels across all social media. Thank you guys for listening, and stick around for the after brunch, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.